Here at the Independence Reformed Bible Church, we do allow for questions following the sermon. Who has the first question? Thank you, John.
I didn't want to run up. There were two things. One is a comment from early in the sermon. You talked about how we as a church don't believe that Jesus Christ will be victorious in history, that's been taken away from us, that belief. Just want to clarify on that. Christ will be victorious, and I believe every scheme of eschatology would say that in the end Christ is victorious.
Sure.
The question ends up being whether or not that he will be victorious through his church. I just wanted to clarify or is that not what you were saying?
Okay, are you asking what the means of his victory is?
Well, you had said that Christ wouldn't be victorious in history.
Okay.
Okay, I think
there are folks that say Christ will not be victorious in history.
yes, that's
Okay.
been taken away from us.
Okay.
How do you mean that when you say that's
Okay.
been taken away from us?
Okay.
Is it that Christ won't be victorious or that his church, he won't be victorious through his church?
Certainly, okay, yes, okay, thanks for asking. Certainly both. That the church will be in retreat as time goes on, and actually not expand but contract. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing, and then what's left then for by what other means then does Christ ride forward, shall we say, in history? I think we have the best example of Christ's statement there in Matthew: the gates of hell, I will build my assembly, I'll build my church. And that is where the struggle is going to be. My assembly, my believers versus the gates of hell. And as that culminates in history, the gates of hell, we can tell you can tell an awful lot about a war by where it's being fought, of course. Mm-hmm. World War I, for example, was mostly fought in France. Well, if you're fighting, if you're the French and you're fighting the war in France, it's not going well. You'd rather be fighting that like maybe in Germany, who you're fighting at the time. We can tell just by where that battle is being fought in that case. Here's Christ describing a battle at the gates of hell. The gates are pretty much, you lose the gates, you've pretty much lost everything. And here's Christ saying, the gates will not prevail against this assembly. So what I'm saying is taken away from us is the condition of the church, both, and the ultimate victory of Christ in time and in history.
Yeah, that the church is not sitting at its gates trying to defend the church. The church is on the attack.
No, it's not. See, this is what I believe this is what we're now being this is where we are. It's, I will build my church, and it will not, and the gates of the church will not prevail against the expanding nature of hell.
Yeah.
That's almost how we see it nowadays.
It is. Second comment, it almost appears at the end here of your sermon where we're talking about Paul and his adversaries. He's almost running towards his adversaries. Is that a fair characterization, or is Paul saying, no, I'm going to stay there because I'll be effective against them and I need to bolster these Ephesians against those adversaries? Or is he running towards them and saying, these guys have to be attacked?
Yeah, I think he always ran towards his enemies, or his adversaries, if you will.
Are we to model that?
I believe so. And I think the guy that we can turn to for this is David. Anybody remember how David approached Goliath? Remember this? He ran. David, with his sling and his stones, ran towards Goliath with his armor bearer and his huge spear and his everything. And I really think, psychologically speaking, and this is where there's another area for me to bash Hollywood. It's such an easy target to bash those guys. But really, if they want to do a good movie, and you want to really do the drama, do that drama right there, then and there, where David is running towards Goliath. If you're Goliath, with all you have, and you've been intimidating these people for 40 days and 40 nights, and they're all scared stiff of you, and here comes some guy who's running towards you. Either he's crazy, or he knows something that you don't know. And that would be a psychological moment for Goliath. Running. What if the Church of Jesus Christ, the assembly of the believers, began to run and to challenge on every point the wicked? We don't know what it would look like. First, we're going to have to stop running away. Because I would argue, John, that we're running. We're definitely running. I don't think argues about the running. The question is, which direction are we running? I don't think it's much of a question, frankly. It's been happening for years. Who else has a question? Are the microphones a little more intimidating, having them up here? Nobody's saying anything. We'll just have to keep our ear to the ground on that one. It's just easier for us to have them up like this than to run around with a microphone. It's easier for us.
Because you get less questions.
Yeah, that's right. I have noticed less questions since we've been doing this. I have noticed this. Is that a bad thing? Who else has a question?